Several homes in Navarre struck by lightning overnight.
It's Mother Nature working. There's really not much you can do.
How many people were displaced after the homes caught fire? People who mistreat and abuse animals will now face harsher penalties in Florida.
We have to be the voice for these animals.
The new law is signed by Governor Ron DeSantis today. Reality TV star Todd Chrisley pardoned and released from a federal prison in Pensacola.
We want to get home. We want to be reunited.
The reaction from family and fans outside the prison today.
WEAR News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Elon Musk is leaving the Trump administration. That was confirmed by Musk with a post on social media tonight. The White House says his offboarding process has started, and Musk has served as a special government employee in the Trump administration, helping to run the new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Musk recently criticized President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Budget Bill, which recently passed the House, saying it will undercut DOGE's efforts to reduce the size and spending of the federal government. And severe storms rolled through Navarre Beach early this morning, damaging 3 homes and forcing about 30 people to find somewhere else to live. The 3 homes caught fire near Gulf Boulevard from 3 separate lightning strikes. Navarre Beach Fire Rescue says nobody was injured and everyone was safely relocated to new homes. The chief says if no one was home, the destruction could have been much worse. Ethan Townsend is visiting from Louisiana to enjoy a peaceful family vacation along Navarre Beach. In the early hours of Wednesday morning, it was quite the opposite.
There's police everywhere, fire trucks everywhere. I didn't know what was happening.
At 1:30 Wednesday morning, Navarre Beach Fire Rescue responded to a home on Gulf Boulevard that was struck by lightning and caught fire. While fighting those flames, the department was notified of 2 more homes in the area also on fire. A response requiring aid from 3 different fire agencies.
There was probably 45 firefighters out here on Navarre Beach. We probably had 8 or 10 apparatus out here at the same time. So all the resources were tied up for sure for quite a while.
Chief Danny Fury says crews were battling the fires until 4 in the morning. From the outside, you can't see much. On the inside, damaged ceilings, exposed beams, and walls burned to a crisp. Fury says the fires ignited in the attics of the homes.
It was a freak accident. Even as we're fighting all these fires, the lightning was going off all around us. It was a very isolated to the beach storm.
Take a look at this video captured by WEAR's First Warning Weather Team. It shows hundreds of lightning strikes in the area overnight. The chief says lightning along the beach is normal. He says 3 fires at one time is unheard of.
When you're dealing with a lightning strike, it's normally very loud. You're going to know about it for sure, and you're going to have ample time to escape the structure.
Fury tells me all of the homes are short-term rentals. He says the homes were occupied when the fires broke out, but no one was injured. Fury says the height of these homes combined with metal roofs put them at a higher risk of being struck by lightning. He tells me lightning rods offer protection against harsh weather, but mainly for smaller structures.
It's Mother Nature working. There's really not much you can do.
And the risk for storms continues into tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Alan Strum joins us in the Weather Center with more. Alan?
Hey, Haley, and even late tonight, we've got our lightning detection indicating where some strikes are. This around Molino on up towards Century and some of these areas. Also into southwest Alabama, some thunderstorms popping up here late tonight with some rainy weather, even on down toward areas around Pensacola. You could see it here back towards southwest Alabama and Mississippi. And if this all holds together, we'll be continuing to see this as we run through these late night and overnight hours. So our radar is showing a lot of activity around the area, and that's just going to kind of continue to slowly shift toward the east. So a weather maker bringing some rainy weather to the Gulf Coast here during these late night hours. Here's Hardee's Beach Cam live view. You can see in the distance here some of that lightning, or I was just seeing some of that as we look at our temperatures. 70s inland, still some 80s along those coastal zones. And as we check out our forecast, the rain chance is quite high overnight and into tomorrow, and again high on Friday. But Friday it's with a front, and I'll show you the changes that front brings.
Hurricane season starts June 1st, and we can help you get prepared before a storm hits. You can watch our Storm Watch special this Saturday on WEAR and WFGX. The 30-minute program goes into detail on all the things you need to know to be ready for this hurricane season. It will air at 5 p.m. Reality TV star Todd Chrisley was released from the custody of the Bureau of Prisons today. It came hours after Chrisley and his wife Julie were pardoned by President Trump. The couple, who starred in the USA Network show Chrisley Knows Best, were convicted in a multi-million-dollar tax evasion and bank scheme in 2022. Todd was serving out his 12-year sentence in the federal prison in Pensacola until his release today.
We just want to get home. We want to get home. We want to be reunited. It's going to take a while. They've been behind walls for 2.5 years, and they thought they were going to be here for 12 and 7 years. So I think there's going to be some PTSD.
It just brought tears to my eyes because I was so happy for him there. I just want to see him and tell him that I love him, even if it's off a distance. I just holler at him and say, Todd, I love you. I love your whole family.
Julie Chrisley has been serving out her 7-year sentence at the Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. She's expected to be released sometime soon. And President Trump also pardoned former Connecticut Governor John Rowland today. Rowland served as governor of Connecticut from 1995 till 2004. He resigned amid a federal corruption investigation and spent 10 months in federal prison for accepting gifts and favors from state contractors. A decade later, he was convicted of conspiring to hide his work on political campaigns and sentenced to a 30-month prison term. And President Trump is also considering pardoning the 2 men who conspired to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. That's according to the Justice Department's pardon attorney. Barry Croft Jr. and Adam Fox were convicted in the kidnapping plot in 2020. Croft is serving 19 years in prison, and Fox is serving 16 years. The men claim they were entrapped, but an appeals court held up their convictions earlier this year. And since retaking office, President Trump has pardoned all of the January 6th rioters. This week, he pardoned a former Virginia sheriff who was convicted on fraud and bribery charges. And President Biden pardoned several family members, including his son, Hunter, who was convicted of 3 felony tax offenses and federal gun crimes. The executive director of the Pensacola Little Theater has resigned. Sid Williams stepped down after questions were raised about, quote, disputed expenses. The theater's board of trustees is reviewing the organization's finances. In a statement, the board said, a thorough financial review is underway and we will continue to seek independently certify all findings. The board says Williams' resignation will not impact upcoming productions, programs, or capital campaign improvements. Sid Williams also released a statement saying in part that he will continue to support the needs of Pensacola Little Theater, including financial and administrative reviews. You can find both the board's and Williams' full statements on our website at weartv.com. Representative Michelle Salzman says the University of West Florida has the right man for the job with interim president Manny Diaz. In an op-ed published today and sent to WEAR News, Salzman says Diaz's presidency at UWF will inspire the community, foster transformative growth, and cement UWF's legacy for generations. Salzman says she's worked closely with Diaz over the last several years in the legislature. She feels he brings the right tools for the job.
Secretary Diaz, soon to be President Diaz, he's just always so mindful and cognizant of the bigger picture and how can we take care of everyone while keeping, our students safe. While I'm sure there are some great prospects for presidency, I'm very drawn to Manny's heart and his spirit.
Despite her voicing support for Diaz, Salzman is still pushing a bill she introduced in the Florida House that would eliminate the selection process used for him. House Bill 1321 would prohibit public officials from lobbying for candidates, essentially strip the governor's power in selecting presidents for public universities and colleges. Salzman filed the bill as a direct response to potential changes at UWF. DeSantis has repeatedly criticized her for that bill. And people who abuse or mistreat animals will face harsher penalties under laws signed by Governor Ron DeSantis today. Senator Don Gates sponsored Troopers Law, named for a dog found chained to a tree during Hurricane Milton. It makes abandoning a restrained animal during a natural disaster a third-degree felony. Violators will face up to 5 years in prison and fines up to $10,000. The law takes effect on October 1st. And Dexter's Law requires the creation of a searchable database listing convicted animal abusers. The registry will be maintained by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Animal advocates say the registry will be an important tool for shelters and rescue groups.
If we know that someone is an animal abuser and we're turning somebody away, there's nothing that stops that person from going down the street to the next animal rescue and trying to adopt a dog. Just like we have to protect our children with pedophiles. You know, we have to be the voice for these animals. They're depending on us, right, Sandy?
Dexter's Law requires FDLE to launch the registry by January 1st. And right now, the city of Pensacola is wrapping up a Child Care Access Summit in downtown Pensacola. Last week, Mayor D.C. Reeves said the city needs to address what he says was a child care access crisis. Today, more than 50 city officials and child care experts gathered at City Hall. They examined potential issues the city has with providing additional access to child care. The speakers ranged from local child care experts to officials from South Florida who shared their insights with the city on where to improve. Some issues brought up at the meeting were a lack of educators and low pay.
I think the issues that you hear are the same issues you hear throughout the nation. It's a workforce issue. You know, it's a number one reason why workers are leaving the workforce now. So employers are asking for assistance for child care. It is a cost issue. Families cannot elevate themselves out of poverty. You have families making $50,000, $40,000 who cannot, they have to make a decision. Do I stay home with my child or do I have to go to work?
Mayor D.C. Reeves says the working group will meet again in June or July to discuss potential solutions for the issues raised today. President Trump making another bid for Canada to join the United States, his new proposal to the Prime Minister. The family of a 4-year-old with a rare medical condition says it's a life or death situation as she faces an order to be deported from the U.S.
First Morning Weather, sponsored by Pensacola State College.
Download the WEAR News app now, sponsored by Forrest Jordan and Associates.
A 4-year-old girl fighting for her life is now facing a deportation order. Sofia Vargas has a rare condition called short bowel syndrome. She was diagnosed as a baby in her home country of Mexico, where doctors told her she had to come to the U.S. for life-saving care. The family received an emergency visa in 2023, allowing them to travel to Los Angeles, where she's been getting treatment ever since. But recently, they received a letter saying that their legal status had changed.
She requires very specialized medical care that requires her to undergo IV treatments 14 hours a day in her home. This treatment cannot be administered outside of the United States, so it's imperative that she remains here. She cannot live independently without that treatment.
Attorneys for the family say doctors told them Sofia's treatment, if her treatment is interrupted, she would die in a matter of days. Officials with the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles say they cannot comment on the matter. At least 4 Palestinian civilians were killed and 48 others were injured as a crowd was rushing to get food from an aid distribution site in Gaza. Gaza hospital officials say 2 of the people were fatally crushed by the crowd and 2 others died of gunshot wounds. The Israeli military says it fired warning shots to try and contain the situation. Israel recently lifted its 3-month blockade on all food, water, and medicine into Gaza, but humanitarian experts say aid is not getting into the region fast enough. And the United Nations says thousands of children in Gaza are dying from starvation. The Palestinian ambassador to the UN delivering an emotional address today at the Security Council.
The images of mothers embracing their motionless bodies, caressing their hair, talking to them, apologizing to them. It's unbearable. How could anyone tolerate this sorrow?
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is facing criticism both at home and around the world for continuing to strike Gaza as most of the population faces famine. President Trump's special envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, says he's sending Israel and Hamas a new set of ceasefire proposals meant to resolve the conflict. And President Trump makes yet another bid for Canada to join the United States, this time using his proposed Golden Dome missile defense shield. In a post to Truth Social, Trump says Canada would have to pay $61 billion to be part of the protection. But if Canada becomes the 51st state, it will be free. Canadian leaders have sharply rejected the idea of joining the U.S., but Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said last week the country is looking into investing in the Golden Dome.
First Warning WeatherNet is sponsored by Peden Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical. Here is Chief Meteorologist Alan Strom.
Well, late night rain is now pushing through areas of northwest Florida here from really around Inslee and basically northern Pensacola, right on up Highway 29 towards Century. We've got some thunder and lightning with this. It's moving into Santa Rosa County as well near Chumuckla, and Jay will likely get some rain from that. We'll see what else is going to be going on, because if we look back toward areas of southwest Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana, there's more rainy weather late tonight, and this could be moving through during these overnight hours as well as into tomorrow morning. So our weather maker here across the northern Gulf Coast providing a little late night rain here. We look back toward Oklahoma. There's a severe weather alert there with a pink area indicating a severe thunderstorm watch. So we've got several weather makers here running across parts of the nation. Our Futurecast says look for more of this as we head toward 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Our morning show does start at 4:30. You can check in with Brooke, see what she's eyeing out there. But this shows, during the 5 a.m. hour, potentially some heavy rain around Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, and then shifting on over toward Okaloosa County. 8 in the morning, we'll see. Our Futurecast definitely showing a good chance for rain tomorrow, and the update late tonight tells us that it may be more like earlier on than midday and into the afternoon. So we'll still have a chance during the afternoon hours of Futurecast. This time of the year, it's kind of tough to figure out exactly when things are going to be popping up around the area. Then on Friday, we've got a front that's going to drop in. That'll bring a chance for rain, looks like late in the day, and that will clear things out for the weekend. So we've got some pretty nice weather here for Saturday and Sunday. Severe weather outlook for tomorrow has a level 1 on the scale from 1 to 5 for almost all of the southeast. And then on Friday, you can see there's a 1 and a 2, and that does get down into the northwest Florida panhandle. That's with that front that will be moving through. An update, though, to our rainfall now shows maybe anywhere from a half of an inch to an inch or so of rain through the overnight hours and through the day tomorrow as we do check that out. Temperatures 70s inland, and we're still 80s along the coastal areas, a little warmer there as we head through the overnight hours. That rain may kind of cool things down a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But take a look at our Hardee's beach cam view. Hilton at Pensacola Beach is where we have the camera. And we're looking at basically a low to moderate risk of rip currents over the next several days. Beautiful down there. Seatow Marine Forecast has us at about 2 feet. So high rain chance here Thursday and Friday, but it drops way off here for the weekend, which does look to be dry. Next week, typical humid weather with a chance for a pop-up shower or storm.
Chime in, sponsored by Florida Power and Light.
It's Wildlife Wednesday. To share your pictures and videos, text WEAR TV to 95577 or look for the Chime In tab on our website. A Wisconsin man on trial accused of killing and dismembering a woman after their first date. The opening statements from the prosecution and defense today. Opening statements were heard today in the trial of a man accused of brutally killing a Wisconsin woman. Authorities allege Maxwell Anderson murdered and dismembered 19-year-old Sade Robinson after they met on a first date in April 2024. Shortly after, her body parts were found in several locations across Wisconsin and Illinois. Authorities say GPS data shows Robinson was at Anderson's home in Milwaukee before her death, and Anderson was at the location where one of her legs was discovered. Prosecutors say there is too much reasonable doubt to convict Anderson.
After leaving Duke's and going to the defendant's house, Sade would never be seen alive again. The evidence in this case is going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Maxwell Anderson intentionally killed Sade Robinson and then sought to have her disappear from this world.
They want you to ignore the mountain of reasonable doubt that exists in this case. They didn't find a murder weapon. What weapon was used to kill Sade? They didn't find any of Sade's blood with all the samples they took throughout that entire house.
Sade Robinson's family has also filed a lawsuit against 2 bars for allegedly serving her alcoholic drinks after she was visibly inebriated. The judge in Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial in New York has denied the defense's request for a mistrial. Lawyers say the hip-hop mogul argued the prosecution unfairly implied Combs was responsible for the alleged 2012 firebombing of rapper Kid Cudi's car. Cudi testified last week, saying the arson happened after Combs learned Cudi was dating his on and off again girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Prosecutors say Combs blackmailed women, including Ventura, into performing sexual acts at parties known as freak-offs. Combs denied the charges and has pleaded not guilty. An event in Okaloosa County to honor women veterans. When, where, and what it will entail. Okaloosa County is preparing for its 3rd annual Women Veterans Day event. It's June 12th at 8 a.m. at the Destin Fort Walton Beach Convention Center on Miracle Strip Parkway. A wreath-laying ceremony will follow at Women Veterans Monuments at Veterans Park. This year, 2 new statues of women veterans will be unveiled. The new statues are Captain Linda Bray, a captain in the U.S. Army. She led her company during a firefight in Panama in 1989 and was recently awarded the Bronze Star with V device for her actions. There will also be a statue of Florence Ebersole Smith Finch. She helped get supplies to prisoners of war during World War II. After being imprisoned and tortured by the Japanese, she joined the Coast Guard in 1945 and was awarded the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Ribbon and the Medal of Freedom. A 68-year-old tradition takes place tomorrow afternoon in Destin. The Blessing of the Fleet starts with a worship and prayer service. Then clergy head to a floating dock where they bless each crew as their boat passes by. All who make their living on the water are welcome, and typically around 150 boats take part in the procession. Feeding the Gulf Coast is sending 10,000 pounds of food to Santa Rosa County. Liberty Church is hosting the giveaway at their campus on North Spencer Field Road in Pace. The drive-through event begins at 9 Saturday morning. They're asking people not to line up early. And we'll be right back.